Sure.
Welcome everybody to Salon, the Femme call number 1. And I welcome Sonal and I welcome you all for being on this call.
Hello.
We are really looking forward to what will unfold in these calls because we don't have a structure because we are not reading the full book, but we are doing homework for you people so that we read it and bring it to you. And B, like Sonal has been saying, there has been crazy stuff with the creations. And both of us, for last 3 days for me, I have been sleeping.
Bye-bye.
And we would just text each other, hey, what's up? And she'll like, I've been sleeping. And I'll say, oh, I've been sleeping too. And then today,
In fact, I was also going to ask you. I was going to ask the same thing because I've been feeling that since morning. It's a very heavy feeling, and sleeping it off, literally sleeping it off.
I wonder what's changing.
I wonder too.
How lucky you guys can at least sleep. यहाँ पे काम करते करते I'm just dozing off in between, and that's just not okay. Too much of office happening.
Dozing off in between is very good.
By the way, it's lunar eclipse today, huh?
Oh, cool. What does that do? I mean,
Oh shit!
I'm so curious.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Me too.
It's a lucky day. Today is a very lucky day. There's some eclipse.
Lucky day.
Oh, you get
Actually,
to
it is
sleep
a
more.
lucky day for clearing.
You
I
get to
see.
sleep more. Okay, cool. Shall we start?
You're doing the
Yes,
homework,
please.
we're doing the homework, yeah?
Hanji?
Are you doing the homework or we are doing the homework?
Today we are doing the homework, then you will do the homework.
No, we are going to do the homework for all the calls. But if you guys did the homework as well, then
Be good students. Star. 5 stars.
then y'all would have more questions come up with regard to specific things that y'all read. So if you don't do it, that's fine. If you do it, it's better for you. Okay, cool. So we're going to start with chapter 1. It's called Pragmatic. You want to say something, Charu?
Yeah. So all those people who are new to this call, we are reading a book called Salon, the Femmes, and it is a book of access consciousness written by Gary Douglas. And it is a book. It is a book written by. Just muting everyone. It is a book written by Gary Douglas, and it is about men, women, how they function in this reality, and about the sex, about relationships, how you do or be with your relationships. And there's more to it. It's not pertaining only to men or women, but it's by and large a lot of areas which might show up for each one of you. There is a clearing statement which is called right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all 9 shots, boys and beyonds. And it's a magic wand of access consciousness which clears up all the energies which are stopping you, blocking you in moving ahead in your life. To understand it, there is, Sonal has put it in the chat, theclearingstatement.com. Dr. Dane, he co-founder of Access Consciousness, has explained it beautifully. So you guys can go there. If you don't understand, it's fine. You can just use it by constantly saying it, and you will start sensing the lightness in your universe. As much we want to explain everything to a lot of you, but there are some of you who will be totally new to this, and if you not get anything, you can always put it in the chat and we will address it, and we'll see how we follow the flow, what shows up in the calls. So shall we start? Cool. Sonal, you're on mute. You have to unmute yourself.
Awesome. So the first chapter is called Pragmatic Feminism. I'm just going to read this quote. I have one thing in mind, and that's to get you to total awareness. If you really don't want to have that, then you'd better put up your guard, or else I'm going to take you on a wild ride. No wonder this call has been weird, because it's about total awareness. Okay, so there's several different topics in this book. The first chapter itself has lots of different things. The very first thing that they talk about is an operative state of living. So I'm gonna read a little bit about that, and if you have any questions, you can ask me and Charlie. So when you have an operative state of living, the same thing shows up over and over again, and you wonder why things keep happening in the same way. If you keep having conflicts with men, or if you keep getting bored, or you keep thinking that something needs to be different from what is, you have an operative state that keeps things showing up in the same way. And so this book was is basically a conversation between Gary and the participants of when they had this as a telecall or teleseries. So throughout the book, people have asked several questions, and there's different bits of awareness that Gary is given around things and questions that he's given around things. So what Gary has to say around an operative state of living is that there should be no fight between masculine and feminine. And that's what I'm trying to create here. What we want is for people to just be themselves, so that women can be themselves or not, depending on their choice. He also says that an operative state is a place that you try to function from. It's a choice that you make. You're not willing to have something different, and you've concluded, this is the way it is, this is the way I will do it, and this is what's going to happen. Instead, you could ask yourself, what would I truly like to choose? What could I be or do that would change all of this? So how many judgments do you have to put you in a place of an operative state? And everything that is times a godzillion, will you please destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. How often is it that we go into this space of, oh, I'm bored. Oh, I'm bored. Oh, I'm bored. How much is that a conclusion rather than a question of what you could do different over here? Which is boredom is an example of an operative state. And these are the questions that he recommended asking. What would I truly like to choose? And what could I be or do different that would change this? And like a couple of clearing statements he's added around this is, what stupidity are you using to create the operative state of life and living as a female are you choosing? And everything that is times a godzillion, will you please destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, online shots, boys and beyonds. There's going to be several clearings which are going to be around females and women, but there's also a lot around men. Don't go by the gender of things, because we've been a male or a female in several different lifetimes. So irrespective of whether you're a man or a woman in this lifetime, it still applies to you.
And how many of you have been going through that conflict that I'm a man or I'm a woman, and why I'm supposed to do this, or why the other gender is supposed to do this or not do this? Why I am not privileged or why I am privileged? Now, operative state is also a lot of times an autopilot state. Autopilots which have been instilled in us, which we have been told that, oh, you're a woman, you're supposed to be like this, do like this.
The roles.
The roles we've been given. So how many of you have taken up the roles of being a woman or a man?
Yeah.
And everything that is, can we destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes, please.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, poc, online shots, boys and beyonds. And what if you could be at the spectrum of being a man and a woman at the same time? And whatever energy is required, you could be that. What would your life be like then? What if you ended the fight of being a man or a woman? That gives you no choice. Either I'll be a man or I'll be a woman, rather than I can be a man and I can be a woman. So
And that's the next clearing. So what stupidity are you using to create the feeling of a constant state of conflict between masculine and feminine are you choosing? And everything that is times a godzillion, will you please destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, poc, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
And I wanted to add to this, because for me, for a very long time, I never got this thing in my head, like balancing the masculine and feminine energy, which is in lot of other modalities, it is told that you're too masculine, you're too feminine. And I just didn't get it in my head, like, what do you mean by too masculine or too feminine? And you got to be balancing it out. Well, my question I would keep asking myself, would an infinite being be masculine or feminine? So a lot of you, like, just to give you it in one line, that we are all infinite beings. An infinite being can be anything. So how many of us try to put ourselves in one box because that's the rightness of this reality, that you are this, you cannot be everything.
Yeah.
And that ends up balancing out everything in your life. And everything that is, everywhere you're balancing it, can you please destroy and uncreate it all?
Yeah.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pok, online shows, bhajans. I think balance is the biggest lie in this reality.
Judgment.
Oh my God. I say balance is like that. Do you see the balance? There's this, that needle.
Hmm.
To balance it out, it has to be in between, which means which constantly keeps poking your ass to create that balance, which you never create that balance, and you're always poking your ass to create that balance.
Yeah.
So how many
So,
of us are doing that?
and that is actually one of the targets of this book club, to end this conflict between masculine and feminine, so that we can all be the infinite beings that we are. And if you look at what's going on in the world right now, it is a lot around that, not specifically towards the fight between masculine and feminine, but just towards ending the fight. Everywhere we have taken on this stance of opposing someone or something, or even like if you consider racism or the protests that are going on, there's just so much upholding of a fight. We want to get rid of this fight against and look more in the direction of fight for possibilities. And what would that look like? So if this wasn't so much about being a man or being a woman, what possibilities do you have based on what you are, whether you're a man or a woman? And how can you start to use that to your advantage for a greater world, rather than to be right somehow?
And to be right, what are your reasons and justifications that you don't want to let go? Because reasons and justifications, oh, I'm not doing this or I'm doing this because, that always allows you to be in the state of rightness.
Or powerlessness. It's
And
like when we and this is slightly like controversial, but when we create these things like, oh, a minority should be able to do XYZ, and we make certain allowances for that minority, how much is that already coming from a place where you've decided that you are a weaker or a more powerless species, caste, religion, or gender? So when we make all these allowances for women specifically, or when women fight for that, how much is that coming from this place of where they don't actually fully have a sense of their power? Because if you did, you would not need to have special allowances. uh, and even when we fight for like these minority things in terms of, oh, we're a minor religion, so we would like to have quota XYZ. Again, how much of that is coming from this place of a lack universe, and where you're somehow less? It's like you've already decided inherently that you're somehow less or you're somehow lacking, and then you're going on in the world to prove the opposite of that, or to have the opposite of that.
or is it the extreme level of manipulation which people do to get the advantages, to have more ease in their lives? But does that really create ease, or does that create more powerlessness in this
Yeah.
world? So
And that's what we want to do. Like, we want to go from this place of powerlessness into choice, into power, basically,
so
where everybody
everywhere,
knows that they have power.
yeah, so everywhere you become powerless, power, everywhere you feel that you are inferior by your gender, because it's not only women who feel that, it's also the men who feel that. So everywhere you're feeling yourself as powerless because being a man or a woman. Can you please destroy and create it all?
Yeah.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pok, online shows, buzzing. What if it is not about being a man or a woman? It's about the energy you be.
Yeah. So going on, there's, based on like the roles that we've been talking about, one of the participants has asked, are men actually mean and vicious? Because that is the stereotype or the role that's been put on men.
And can somebody, like, in their heads also translate it into Hindi? What general judgments you have for men? I know I was in school where my friends, I had a lot of guy friends, and my guy friends would call me up and they'll say ki, Adi uncle is there, but they would say, आदमी लोग बहुत खराब होते हैं. I'm saying it in a better word. Then they would say कि उनका तो दिमाग ही वैसा होता है.
Basically, you're using the two words.
Okay, whatever. So how many of you've been given judgments of that men are really mean, vicious, men are really bad, men are
Only think,
sorry?
actually, that is true, though. Even Gary says that. Men only think from their penis.
So how many of you have those judgments? And would you be willing to let that go now?
And rather than those things being a judgment, what if you could start being aware of how they actually function? Not from a judgment, but from an awareness of, oh, this is how a man functions. And then how can we use that to create a greater world? And same for women.
Yeah.
So Gary says they have bought the lie that being mean and vicious is masculine. So how many lies have you bought about men that are screwing up your lives? And locking up your life and living, and everything that is, can we please destroy and uncreate it all? Right,
Yes.
wrong, good, bad, pot, book, online, shorts, boys, and beyonds.
So I want to say this. How many of you avoid conflict?
Me.
Me, I avoid conflict too.
Me too. Okay. The problem is that most women, rather than seeing a man for who he is, have the point of view that if they change him, he will turn into a good man. And that's not from the space of, and I like just before this call, my brother sat and asked me, what is this call about? And then I read the Salon, the Femme and the line, and he said, Mujhe to samajh hi nahi aaya. And I was like, okay. And how many times we have been told that the brother you have, the father you have, or the partner you have to correct them. They are like that only. Once they get married, then their life will be totally sorted. So how many of you have married those men so that you can finally sort their life? And everything that is, rather than receiving them as is, your job becomes to find out the problems in them, to correct them, so that finally you can do a good job in your life. So
It's like it becomes this lifelong project. So
yeah,
you can feel accomplished somehow.
by the end of your life, you are accomplished that I've done a good job. How many of you are correcting your man
Or woman.
or a woman by doing a good job? And everywhere you've been implanted with those lies, can you please destroy and uncreate it all?
Yeah.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pog, online shows, boys and neons. It diffuses the conflict to a certain extent. And the conflict is being a man or a woman, but it doesn't keep the relationship going in long term, which means either you can be in interesting point of view or you can be in conflict. So what do you end up doing? You say, oh, I don't want to be in conflict, so I'll be in interesting point of view. But does that sort out your stuff? It just temporarily stops you from actually looking at the things as is. So how many times have you taken a man and seen him as a perfect picture? And everything that is, will you please destroy and uncreate it all?
Yeah.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pog, online shows, boys and neons. And before we move forward, just for a second, do you have an image of who is a perfect man or a perfect woman?
Not anymore.
Thank you. Okay. So, and everywhere or anywhere, if you have any of those points of views of this reality, who is a perfect man or a perfect woman, what body he or she should have,
The
what
body, the height.
the height, the financial reality, the relationships, or if you have perfect agreement and alignment or resistance and reaction to John Abraham, Shah Rukh Khan. Like I just would tell my mother, like I would marry Aditya Roy Kapoor, and she would just laugh it out and she'll say, so everywhere you have all those agreements and alignments and resistance and reactions to any of them, can you please destroy and uncreate it all?
Yeah.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, online shows, boys and girls. What if you could see the people as they are? And it is not about being a man or a woman or you having a partner, but it is looking at the people as they are.
And this also comes down to how much of that is a vibrational virtual reality.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, a vibrational virtual reality is something, it's like it becomes a filter that you see the world through. So if we've been raised watching these several movies, and it gives us an idea of the sort of person, the perfect man, the perfect woman, and we create our lives as a movie rather than being able to see people for who they are. And that's what VVRs do, vibrational virtual realities. So how many VVRs do you have running your life, determining your definitions of men and women, and everything that you allow yourself to receive? That if you actually destroyed and uncreated them, you'd actually be able to receive things for what they are, and actually have the chance to create a greater life rather than just another movie. And we all know how movies end.
Happily ever after.
Do they though?
Better than our life situations, yeah.
Sorry?
I said the movies end better than our life situations.
Yeah, because that's the thing that never allows you to look. So our lives are not, lives looks like movie, but the people are very different. So what it starts creating is a comparison, the judgments of the people who are around you, because you have a reference point of what you've seen somewhere. So you, instead of receiving people as is, we like go in that operative state of comparing and going in, oh, but my husband does not do this, I saw it in movie that how he was doing all of that and now he's not doing, so I have to correct him now. And then it becomes your job, because there is also a judgment that you're a woman. So being a woman, your job becomes that you are a nurturing, caring woman, and you have to parent your husband and all of that, which has been instilled since the time you are born. And everything that is, can we all destroy and uncreate it all?
So
Right, wrong, good, bad, perfect, all, nations, boys and
everywhere you are trying to tame the wild beast, will you please destroy and uncreate it all?
I think it's for us. Everywhere we are trying to tame the wild beast in ourselves, and we all destroy and uncreate it all.
Yeah.
How many of us are trying to tame the wild beast within us that never allows you and the other person to be out of control? And everything that is, can we destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes, please.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pop, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
So the next topic is about someday my prince will come. Again, this is another one of those movie things where we have this idea that, there's this one perfect man for us or one perfect woman, and you'll spend your life happily ever after with that person. So Gary
Are we
asks,
taking questions?
yeah,
Somebody
we
has
can.
written it somebody has written it in chat that people, I think we beyond it, but people around me affect me by their thoughts. People compromise and somehow they don't give priorities to their choices because they have been learning since their childhood how should be a girl or a boy. Neelam, would you like to ask more?
If it is a question.
Yeah. No, that's it. Okay, cool, fine.
So the thing that Gary's talking about here is, if you would you as an infinite being have only one true love? That doesn't make sense, because as an infinite being, you would have oneness as the thing you desire, not one as the thing that you desire. So how many some days are all of you still trying to bring to fruition, and everything that is? Times a gazillion, will you please destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, bad, perk, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
And can we elaborate
I
on
just
that?
want to add one thing, Charu. As we're running these clearings, I'm starting to get a sense of where, how much we understand these things cognitively. And like for a lot of us, we've been doing access for a while, and we get that this is not how things are or should be. And cognitively, we get a different awareness of.
What the fuck
So
was that?
cognitively, we have an awareness of, oh yeah, I get it. I get what you're talking about. But as we're running these clearings, do you notice how much charge still on it? And what if we approach this book club from the space of curiosity rather than, oh, I know? Because if there is still so much charge, even though we get these things cognitively, how much do we still have uncleared around these areas that we don't even acknowledge? And can we please move into destroying and uncreating all of that through this book club now?
Yes, please.
Everything that is right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, online, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Yeah, Charu, what did you want to expand out on?
So the thing is that how someday my prince will come. So how many of us saw the movies where there was a perfect picture of what a prince charming is, and
All
then
these movies.
yeah, and then that got us creating the reference points that never allows us to receive the people as they are, which never allows you to receive you as you are. And there's a constant state of judgment which we all live in that never allows us to go beyond judgments. And everything that is times a godzillion can be destroyed and uncreate it all.
Yeah.
Right? Bad podpok, online shows, boys and beyond. So to have a prince charming, how many of you have to make yourself as Cinderella? The pathetic,
Powerless?
powerless.
Can I just share something?
Yes,
Yes,
please.
please.
I was on Gary's future call, and in that he says, which movie are you using to create your
Live your
life?
life.
That which is a movie that you visualize that this is a movie and this is how my life should be. And like Charu brought out, that starts to limit you in every way, Because that's
I
all.
saw DDLJ like how my Raj will come. Fuck Raj, nobody came.
Even Gary mentioned that we most of us create our lives based on a concept of some movie which we have seen.
Yeah.
Limits our
The ideal, perfect, the thing that matches your judgments of what is ideal in your world, and everything that is, can we please destroy and uncreate that?
Yes, please.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, online, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Wow, that has a lot of charge.
What about when we are comparing a man to a father, like?
Yeah, so your primary relationship in this reality becomes your father. As a girl, your primary relationship is with your father. So when you have that primary relationship, there is a reference point to your father that allows you to have another man in your life. So, um, so for example, if you've agreed and aligned with your father, then that's what you want to create in your universe. If you resisted and reacted, then that's what you create in your universe. So your father is another movie which you have been seeing since the time you are born. And everywhere you have been seeing your movie with your father or with your mother, that has got you creating or not creating a man or a woman in your life. Can you please destroy and uncreate it all?
Yeah.
Yes,
Right,
yes.
wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, online, shots, boys and girls. For example, the childhood memories I have of men, like I had a lot of guy friends, and for me the world was okay. They are like that, but as I started growing up, they functioned from different space, which was difficult for me to get it. So there was no separation of a man or a woman in my world,
Yeah.
and that this reality, it was difficult for me to sustain here unless I got the more clarity in my universe. So what reference points you have of a man in your life? It can be movies, it can be your parents, it can be your brothers. Sonal, what you want to add something?
Yeah, this is actually a little bit personal. I'm not so sure if this is the right place for this, but since it's popping, I'm going to go ahead and say it anyway. When I was younger, up until I was, I think, 11 or 12, I had no concept of being a man or a woman. I got along with the girls, I got along with the guys. There was no separation. This is something that this reality starts to instill on you. And I remember I was in sixth standard, and my neighbor, who's a guy, he went and cut his hair really short. And I don't want to say it was competition, but it was more like a sort of play. So I went and cut my hair really short also, so I could spike it, and we could have this like face off. And then I went to school, and I was in an all girls school, and my friends were like, who is this person and why has she done this to herself? And not just that, like that was still okay. I was okay with being this weird different kid who just did whatever she wanted. um Across my all girls school was an all boys school, and we were going home from school one day, and we used to travel in the same matador with some of the boys, and there was this one guy who started shouting out pakka chakka pakka chakka, and it created this trifold sequencing system in my world where I realized, and it was impelled with such a level of judgment. So from that point when I look back now, I realized that was when I started to grow out my hair. That's when I started to be more girly, started to act more like a woman, be more feminine, not based on where I had a choice, or where I could be whoever, whatever I wanted. It was from this judgment of this is what you should be, because if you are not that, then we are going to reject you. And how much have we done that to the people in our reality based on where they don't fit some ideology or some filter of what we think people should be, women should be, or a man should be. And what an unkindness that is, because it takes away choice from you being able to be anything that you want to be.
And adding to that is what, by and large, right now is when you spoke, Sonal, I had so many goosebumps, because that is what creates the current scenarios in the world where there is a caste, color, religion,
Yeah,
creed. Uh, it's the my like it's Indians and Pakistan and Americans, and that is at large, but that starts from that basic judgment of where it is not allowed to be who we are, but we are allowed to fit into the way this reality wants us to fit into. Fuck, I have a lot of goosebumps right now.
and everything this brought up for all of us, can we please destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes, please.
Right,
And
wrong, good, bad, pot, pop, all nine shots, poison, yes. Yes, RD, sir.
isn't it really functioning from a point of creating separation everywhere?
Yes,
Absolutely.
No?
totally.
Whether it is color, whether it is sex, whether it is religion, caste, creed, it's just creating separation and and that's what's happening all over the world today. You see what's happening in America is just causing separation.
Exactly.
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 And that's what, like, when I say, some of you've heard, like, this energy ball and this energy ball. How will you separate this energy ball with this energy ball? Oh, I'm a man. Men's school, boys school, and then women, girls school, going together in that one matador. There was no separation, but we have to create that separation. Otherwise, if you're together, then there are more judgments. You might end up having sex with each other.
Oh, you might end up having sex. Oh my God.
Yeah, like brother and sister are not allowed to sleep together because they might end up having sex together. So that creates the separation from that very basic level of you not receiving yourself and the other person.
And your body.
Yeah, so that's a very nice point you brought out about receiving. Most of the problems show up in our life because you're not willing to receive anything.
Yeah. And
Right?
like with so much of the separation between men and women, this is where we can't receive men or women.
Yeah.
And which means we cannot receive parts and pieces of us because it's across lifetimes where we have been man and women. So we imagine we are just receiving this much, that
Yeah.
I am Charu and I will only receive what Charu can do right now and not what I can do as an infinite being.
Yeah.
And how much that one judgment made at an individual level is reflecting in a larger picture of the society, like
Absolutely.
And with this, I got this thing as a doctor instinct. So the moment baby is born, what do you do? The first thing,
it's a boy or a girl.
you go and check the genitals, and then that starts creating the separation. So how much you've created your separations with your genitals,
Hmm.
that never allows you to receive your body in totality.
Yes.
Yeah.
If we didn't have that, would we ever have man or a woman? So do you realize the people who are transgenders?
How
How
lucky.
much how much they can receive and how much do we separate with them.
Yeah.
How lucky they are.
How lucky they are, and they can actually receive both the genders, and they have no separation in their world. But we as people, it's like same with how we separate from X-Men, the special kids, that we think they are the problem, but actually we are the problem. And now again we think that the transgenders are the problem, but we are the problem, which who cannot receive.
It's like these guys are the mutation to a different species, and they're inviting us to something different. And yet what we continue to do is more separation. Like, how much are transgender people judged in the Indian society? I know it's a lot better now and getting a lot better now, but it's not a
Thanks to Manisha.
thanks to Monisha. Yeah, how cool is that? And this is what Gary's saying, that this stuff maintains the insanity of this reality. The conflict between male and female, and the idea of relationship and marriage. So what stupidity are you using to create the non-existent sex life, romance life, marriage and relationship life that never existed in any reality are you choosing? And everything that is times the Godzillion, will you please destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes, please.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. I don't know if you guys remember, but a couple of days ago I put up this post, and that was a quote from this book. When you're functioning from the kingdom of me, you come to conclusion. But when you are functioning from the kingdom of we, you're able to see how every molecule in the universe interacts with one another. So there was this thing that Charu was talking about with regard to, like, you have this sphere and this sphere. How do you possibly create separation between this sphere and this sphere? Rather than, what if we had communion, and then there wouldn't be the separation, but it would be this coexistence, the space of this being and the space of this being coexisting with each other. And that's what communion is, rather than we were constantly trying to create separation. How different would our world be if we were able to have that level of coexistence and communion, rather than the way connection and separation is done currently? And everything that is, can we please destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes, please.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pop, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
So because you have been a man or a woman in some lifetimes, all the things should be available to you. But instead of receiving all this, you start limiting your life by limiting yourself with this lifetime which you are living right now currently. Okay, like for example, in my universe, I will say, I am Charu and I'm living in Jaipur and I belong to Chopra family and I'm a daughter of so and so, sister of so and so, I am divorced, and that defines me in this reality, and that's the limited life that we are living. What if instead of all those judgments we could expand out and become the infinite being that allows us to receive in all the lifetimes we were man, in all the lifetimes we were woman, so that never allows you to judge the man or the woman. So everywhere you have judged all the men in this reality, and everywhere you've judged all the women in this reality, everywhere you've been there, done that, can we all destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Instead of receiving being a man and a woman in across lifetimes, we start creating again these separations that never allows us to have infinite choice and possibilities, that always allows us to live a limited life and being the victim of this reality that, oh, the pathetic one, oh, I'm a woman, oh, I can't do this, oh, my husband should pay money for me, I'm married to him, now it's his job to get money for me, not my job.
Which I want to point out, Adisa said some time ago that it's what we use to stop receiving. If we could actually use these roles to our advantage rather than buy them as real and true, that's okay. It's just the place where it starts to create somebody outside of you being the source as a problem. If you got that you are the source as well, and then you're still willing to receive, that's a whole different universe.
So what if you never had to cut off
Mm.
from all that you have been across lifetimes, dimensions, realities. Just for a second, would you allow yourself to receive all of that if you never had that judgment? Would you
Yes.
please push your barriers down and just scan across lifetimes, dimensions, realities, where you've been a man and a woman? And if you never had to judge that, whether it was a good or a bad, if you never had to have a preference of being a man or a woman, what can you receive now?
And you guys notice how instantly your barriers pop up. That really is an example of how many points of views that we have that we aren't even willing to acknowledge towards this area. And that's what stops receiving.
And I like to read this paragraph, which I found it very interesting. If you were a male in your last lifetime or a female, and you thought being a female was easier or a male being a easier and better, and you come into this lifetime as a female or a male, you will say, wait a minute, it's not easier being a female in this lifetime or a male in this lifetime. It's better being a man or a woman. Do you realize you're left with no choice anymore?
There's only two choices, to be a man or a woman.
Or then
There's
now
no
you can
infinite
be a
being.
transgender. And then you're
But
done.
that's still like a defined, limited third choice: a man, a woman, or transgender. That's it.
Yeah,
That's the
that's
end of
it.
all the possibilities that you have.
Yeah. And then, then what? So it's like, you're in a triangle. I would go to this angle and I'll say, oh, this is better. But then you realize, no, this angle is not better. Let me go there. You go to that. And now you're ping-ponging in all that three angles that never allows you to get out of that triangle.
Wow.
And everything that is bringing up whatever or letting down in your universe. Everywhere you're doing a ping pong in your universe. Can you please destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all life, shorts, boys, and beyond.
And all the judgment around that, can we please destroy and uncreate it? All the judgment and the demons, right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all nine shorts, boys, and beyonds.
Any questions any of you have?
Neelam, I did see your question in the chat. We are actually going to come to that bit.
Can I ask you a question? This is Sonal here.
Yes, please. Sonal, can you just give me a second? So, Neelam, your thing, we're going to address it going forward, where there's this whole thing about competition with men, and you'll get a clearer idea around that. Yeah, Sonal, go on. You're on mute.
Yeah. Hi, both of you.
Hello.
Okay, I just wanted to tell you that when we were doing this, actually, I was thinking, "Mera kya kaam hai isme?" Because I was not, relating it to it. And suddenly, when you talked about transgender and also about male and female, I have declared to the universe that I would like to be female in all my lifetimes. I would love to be. I enjoy being a female. And एक judgment भी याद आया कि male are not very emotional people. And I would like to experience that, emotions.
So how many lifetimes have you been a man?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, everything that is, can you please destroy and uncreate it? All right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, online shorts, boys, and beyond. So the reason why I'm saying that is because what that does is that it sets you up to be able to receive only from women then. If you have decided that that's a right, good, perfect, correct thing. And maybe even not even from them if it's coming from a place of judgment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. But Sonal, I understand what you told me. I get it. I enjoy being a female body. It's just
that's
something.
a whole different thing. The enjoying your body and enjoying your being, it's a whole different thing. What
Okay.
we've really been addressing is this conflict that exists for people. So maybe that conflict does not exist for you. So it's,
No, it doesn't. It
yeah,
doesn't. And whenever people come across as a feminist also, no, I just tell them that nothing is, don't go into polarity.
yeah.
Yeah, yin and yang. Like,
You got it.
yeah.
So everything that we read or everything that we talk about, don't like just blindly apply that to yourself. Ask, is this really
You're
relevant to me or
cracking.
not?
You're cracking.
Am I cracking?
Yeah.
Is it better now?
Yes.
Cool. So when whatever we read, just ask if it's relevant to you or not. If it's not, you can just ignore it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. But what point you brought out about transgender thing was a like a new opening for me. I've never seen. In fact, I don't have any point of view with them, but it was, and what RD sir said, they are receiving both the genders very
Yeah.
beautifully, was a very new thing for me. So thank you for that also, RD sir. And both of you, thank you.
Welcome. So I really like this topic, which is there, homage to relationships versus homage to vagina. So how so so in this reality, how men do relationships and how women do relationships. Women do relationships by having sex. Men
Because
do,
what they really want is a relationship,
yeah,
and then they do sex to have a relationship.
yes. And then men do relationship to have sex, which means explain.
They don't really care about the relationship. What they care about
Yeah.
is the sex. So they'd be
As
willing
far
to
as
do relationship to have sex.
as far as they are getting sex, they are happy with that. But they also know that women want to have a relationship, so they are happy doing the relationship with women. It's the opposite with women, that they want to do relationship, so they are happy doing sex, but they want relationship. So it's entirely two different universes which men and women function from. And then you have homage to relationship versus homage to vagina. Like, how much do you give homage to relationships being a woman?
So in this reality, and I'm saying in this reality because that's how things are done in this reality, there is basically a sort of worship. Did I freeze?
Yes,
Can you guys hear me?
you are freezing,
Okay, cool.
but it's okay. It's still audible.
So one of the things that I want you to get from the Salon de Femmes is to be able to have your feminine side without the necessity of making it a problem with men, which is why we're going to run fearings around homage to vagina or homage to relationship, because nothing should be a problem. So what stupidity are you using to create the eternal homage to relationship are you choosing? And everything that is times a godzillion, will you please destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pop, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
So how many of you who don't have relationships start judging themselves?
And in this reality, it is wrong. It's like
Yeah.
you are given more value if you are in a relationship.
In a relationship. So how many of you will rather have a stupid relationship, for all the adjectives I'm
Bad,
going to
terrible
use,
relationship.
bad, terrible, idiotic relationship, because that's the right thing of this reality, because that's what you've been taught, that if you're a woman, your ultimate goal is to be in relationship.
Not me.
That never allows you to receive you, and everything that is times a godzillion. Can we destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad,
Yeah.
online shows, boys and girls. So if you don't have a relationship, then how much do you constantly go into the judgments of you that never allows you to receive you? And everything that is times a
Everywhere
godzillion.
you guys are not doing this, can you please acknowledge how different you are?
Yes,
Like, don't
please.
use this as a way to, oh, this is not relevant to me. Please use this as a way to acknowledge your difference.
Yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
I would also like to share, it's very cultural based. Like in India, getting married for a woman is,
The perfect choice.
that is so much of pressure.
Yeah.
We went to Japan to do a class. There were about 30 people there, out of which only 2 people were married.
I will go to
Really?
Japan.
And our host, we didn't know, but she was expecting a baby, and she was not married, and she was 35 years old, and she was happy having a baby, and no point of view about it,
Yeah.
So cultural,
True.
so much.
Yeah, culturally it's quite different.
India, especially in the poor and the lower middle class and poor, it's horrible the way they push the women into some pretty shitty relationship. जब हमारी जिम्मेवारी खत्म हो गई है as a parent, Our daughter is married, my chores are over. Now I can sit back and relax and have my daru. How horrible is that? Really, I'm telling you honestly.
There are parents who actually save money right from
I
The
know.
day daughter is born, I know one of my relatives, the day daughter was born, that relative started saving money because after 25
Shadi
years, when
Karwana.
she will get married, I have to have gold. And he's supposed to be a doctor. Not supposed to, he's a doctor. But then he started saving. Every year they buy gold to give it in her marriage. And that never allows you to have that freedom of what or who. You remember that movie? Farhan Qureshi, BTech engineer.
Yeah.
Which
And
movie is
that Three Idiots.
Oh,
Like, you're born, you're supposed to be engineer or a doctor.
Yes, I just have to mention that the moment a child is born, the moment a son is born, जैसे
yeah.
कि उसको खेलने दो मजे कर लेते तो लड़का है कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है लड़की जमी तो इसको पढ़ाओ क्यों पढ़ाओ ताकि वो सेल्फ सस्टेनिंग हो जाए ताकि जब उसकी शादी होगी अगर वो हस्बैंड उसका अच्छा नहीं निकला तो शी कैन स्टैंड ऑन हर फीट द प्रिजम्पशन इज दिस that when a daughter is born you have to get her educated get her to be able to have a good job for the husband they don't bother and most of the husbands are pretty wasters दारू पीते सारे चिकन खाते और कुछ नहीं करते सारे
Because the point of view is that we need to make her do all these things so she finds a nice man.
Yeah.
No, not only find a nice man, she finds a nice man and she's well prepared to take care of her in case of any man whom she finds is actually not nice. And then she has to stand on her own feet and do something.
And if that is not what you have been prepared for, then you are supposed to suffer with that man. Otherwise, you're doing the most wrong thing by getting out of that
Yeah.
marriage.
I know.
So,
And I remember there was a girl who came to our class and she was having a horrible relationship. She was just married and they never stayed together. And she didn't want to stay with him. And he also didn't want to. Then they wanted to go for a divorce. And the mother said, no way. But she said that, look, he's not a chap. We have nothing in common. So you think, and what the mother says, you think I have anything in common with your father, but I've stuck with him for 50 years. What's your problem? You also stick it out.
yeah.
You remember that movie with Priyanka Chopra and
Yeah, I
Ranveer?
was just about to say that.
Much khelte ho, you're not brothers and sisters. Of course, you're perfect for each other. Like that's the deciding factor.
Yeah,
Just because you play
twins,
squash, that's the one common element. So you should be married.
correct. So, and that's an ultimate homage to marriage also, at least in India, where there is an ultimate homage to marriage. And Sonil and I can vouch for it when we are not married, how much projections and expectations
Oh
we are
my God.
aware of. And nowadays, I have fun with that. Like one of the calls I was sharing, that if somebody says that, what's going on, so I can always tell them, oh, I'm having 4 boyfriends and I will just run away with somebody and all of, and then it just blues away their world, that what are you saying? Like, it's not even allowed to say. So
A relative stopped asking her questions about marriage after that.
yes, totally, like she's out of control, she can't be controlled. Well, I have fun with that. So how much you're not willing to be out of control and like really screw up people's thought processes, and everywhere you're trying to please and fit in.
Yeah.
Can you all please destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pop, all nine shows, boys and neons. How much more naughty can you be for you? How much more naughty you have to be for you to receive you?
And for that, first, you need to have allowance for you and your choices. So if you are doing homage of any kind, you are not being present with choice, possibility, and question. And those are the elements of creation. It basically means with the homage of any kind, you've taken away any choice of creation that you could have. Choice for creation.
Question. I have a question.
Yes.
When it's homage of any kind, doesn't that apply to religion too?
Yes, absolutely. Religion, marriage, relationship, vagina, anything, any kind of homage.
You have to have no homage to any god.
Yeah.
It's also about, you know, when you get married and if you don't have kids, then how wrong is that? So ultimate homage to having children.
Yeah, but what I marvel at women is that after having one child, they have the guts to have another one. My God. Oh.
Yeah.
You will never stop surprising me, ever.
It is full of surprises, this world. That's the infinite being we are. We made a choice to come on this planet to have fun, to look at the insanity of this reality and receive the fun in this, and then out-create it.
Babies, not necessarily have babies, no?
Totally. And then you see the insanities, like you realize the insanity that we want, nobody will talk about sex in India, and then we have the maximum population in India. Like, yeah, everybody wants to not have child or have one child, and then like out of the blue, so many kids start showing up in this in India. So how much insanity we are entrained to?
It's basically the willingness to have all of those energies be exposed. It's because these energies are not exposed, it creates this repressed energy, which then leads to excessive population or rape, or basically the darkness of this reality. It's where we are repressing so much. So what if, and that's exactly what we are doing through these things. We're willing to allow things to come to surface. We're willing to allow things to be exposed. And with each person that you are connected to, it becomes a door opens for them as well. And that's how it starts to change the world.
And everything that does not allow that to show up now, can we all destroy and uncreate it all and track the insanity here? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, online shows, boys and girls. I had a client in the morning who texted, and he's approximately 33, and he said that, do you realize I'm 33 and I'm virgin? I've not had sex. Do you realize how difficult it is for me to live in this reality? Like, ultimate thing in my life is to get married, and at least, and the sentence he said, एक तो बच्चा कर लूं at least जिससे मेरे को कोई परेशान नहीं करेगा. So everywhere you have a homage to vagina and homage to sex and homage to relationships. If you don't have relationships, if you don't have sex, that defines you. Can you all please now destroy and uncreate it all and set yourself free with that? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, online shots, boys and girls. We have to get rid of homage to relationship or homage to vagina, either for or against. Sometimes it is against also. I'm not going to do this. That's not something I'm up for it. So everywhere you're against that, that also lets you be in a homage to this. Can you please destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, online shots, boys and beyonds. What stupidity are you using to create the eternal homage to vagina are you choosing? And everything that is, can we destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, online shots, boys and beyonds. Any of you have any questions? We can go, like, we don't mind. We have a lot of snippets to read, but if you guys have any questions, we are happy to address that. We have at least half an hour for us to take up the questions.
So I'm going to continue reading.
Yeah.
This teleclass is to get you to a place where you can have ease with being a female, ease with choosing to act like a male, ease with creating as a male does, and ease with creating as a female does. Right now, most of you are struggling for or against one side or the other, which doesn't give you total choice. Do you guys get that? Nothing in this reality is about choosing and creating your sexual identity and reality. Do you get that you get to choose it and create it? But here it's about buying into everything you are told and sold, everything out there in this world that tells you that this is how it's supposed to be. And everything that is times the Godzillion, can we please destroy and uncreate it all?
Yes, please.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
Nothing in this reality is about choosing and creating your sexual identity and reality. It's about buying into everything you're told and sold, and everything out there in the world that tells you this is how it is supposed to be. And
Yeah.
this is how it is supposed to be, this is how it is supposed to be, this is how it is supposed to be. And all the distractor implants, Shikku implants, and mobile strips holding on to that. Will you please now destroy and uncreate and set yourself free? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Manipulation and knowing. How many of you feel that manipulation is wrong? How many of you don't want to manipulate or want to manipulate? So, so I like this. We didn't read the initial part of this book where Gary said that he did this class one day with men, and by end of the day, men got over with their points of views, and they realized that how caring and nurturing they are, and they had no points of views regarding women, and they went home happy. Next day he did the same class with women, and women by end of the day got over with their old points of views, and they got new points of views related to men, and they were like really angry. And then next 2 days he invited both men and women, so for 1.5 days only women were talking and clearing their issues with men, and in last half class men had the courage to speak up and clear some stuff in their universe. So basically what the thing is that men is that they tend to be quite straightforward. Men are straightforward. They are more direct than most women. Boom, boom, boom. You tell them, are you upset? If they are, they will say yes. If they are not, they will say no. And do you realize that movie where it was, मैं चाहती हूँ कि तुम ये चाहो कि मैं जो चाहती हूँ वो तुम ना चाहो और and you realize how women function from that space. Well, it is not to make men right and women wrong, but it is to receive how women are and how men are.
And how differently we can function.
Totally.
Not as a separation, but just an acknowledgement of that difference.
Correct. So they are more direct than most women. They also lie well. So all the women who know when their husbands are lying or their partners are lying or their fathers or brothers are lying, please know that they lie really well. Okay, if you are a woman, you learn that men will lie and you try to confront them, control them, or manipulate them to get them to tell the truth. Actually, you shouldn't try to get them to tell the truth. You just want to know what the truth is, because that gives you control over situation. So that's ultimate. Like, you want a control. Tell me the truth. Tell me the truth. Tell me the truth. Rather than knowing, oh, they are lying to me. No, because that gives you a power and control over them. And that's what we talked about, taming the beast. That you want to tame that beast. You have to tell me what it is. Although I know.
Also, how much do you have to invalidate your knowing to have that be proved by someone else? If you know, you know. You never have to seek validation for it from anyone else. And this is how a lot of women start to go crazy, because, you know, they are in dynamics where they know that the other person is lying to them. Rather than acknowledging that and being aware of it, it's like people set off on this mission to try to prove it, especially when like partners are cheating. If you know, you know. Will you please trust that? How crazy do you have to go before you actually make a different choice, just because they will never validate that or acknowledge that for you?
So everywhere you are not validating your reality, everywhere
And your awareness.
your awareness, and everywhere you're not willing to receive your awareness and know your awareness, everywhere you're not willing to have your knowing, can we all destroy and uncreate it all? Right,
Yeah.
wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all night shorts, boys and beyonds. Part of being a woman, part of womanology is having a sixth sense. Okay, you have an awareness of things that men don't have. So my question to you and Adi uncle is, recently my father asked this question, why there are so many women in access consciousness? And I had my own answers to him, but I would like to hear it from you people.
I'm not sure actually.
My point of view is that there are more women in access because women acknowledge that there is so much to learn and so much to, to achieve and to get awareness and get consciousness. Men are not. Men are happy in this reality. They have their daru and their chicken and बस अपना सो जाते हैं उनको कुछ परवाह नहीं. I'm honestly telling you.
Yes.
Women, on the other hand, you see, and another thing is that women in this reality have been suppressed, have been having the wrong end of the stick, always, and therefore they would like to, have a better life, have a life that is more powerful, that where they know that there's nothing wrong with them, and this whole reality is all about making women wrong. Yeah, whichever bloody religion you go to,
Yeah.
women are always second grade. So what do the women do here? I'm so thankful for access that they've got so many women coming there and who are getting to realize that there's nothing wrong with them, yeah. That there is something beautiful in them and they're better than men in so many ways, yeah. Which is, something awesome. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
Coming to.
I think the other thing also is that access outwardly seems like energy work or just another like healing modality. If you're not really aware of what this is actually about, it seems very woo-woo. And men usually prefer logic. They can't really relate to how your car can start working by you doing energy work.
Yeah. So that's what Gary says. If there's a car which is there owned by a woman, she will do her energy work and heal the car there. The guy will take the car to the mechanic. Yeah.
And that's
Which is true.
Yeah, and that's what I spoke to. I was like, for men, the life is very straight. Like you said, that they want to have alcohol, have chicken, and then go and then provide money and done. Women have like that's what we were talking about. That for them the world is pretty straight. For women, it's and also at the
Complexities.
and also at the same time, uh, being a woman, at least the one you are in your body right now, uh, women have this sixth sense and awareness that they know something else is possible. So Gary having that, like Gary giving that space to all of us, allows us to have that awareness and own ourselves. And everywhere we were made secondary because we were the changers in this world, and this world never wanted to change. People didn't want to change. The reality didn't want to change. So the best part was to control. And I like what Gary said in the book, The Lady, and Adi uncle is doing book club on The Lady. So if any of you would like to hop on there, you can hop on. And Gary
That's
said
on the 6th.
it starts on the 6th and it's 5 telecalls. Uh, Gary said that you want to be equal with men. And why? Like you're any which way superior to them, but you have this constant fight going on that I want to be equal rather than receiving what you are and what you be.
And Neelam, this is actually the answer to your question. The thing is, in this reality, based on the separation, there's a lot of competition that women and men start to do with each other. So in this reality, if a man is seen as more valuable, then a woman does whatever she can to try to prove that she is better than that. But for her to do that, she has already decided that she is somehow less than. And this is what Gary means by this. He's not really talking about creating more separation with recognizing how you're superior. He's talking about how men are superior in some ways and how women are superior in some ways. We are not equal. We all have our different strengths and abilities. And if we try to be equal, try to supersede the other at the places where they are superior, that's an insanity. That's not recognizing the difference that you are. That's competition, comparison, and invalidation. It's like trying to compare dogs and cows. You can't, because they have different things that are superior about them. So this goes in both directions. Neither one can give you the freedom of awareness. That continuing with the manipulation thing. So we are looking for how to get awareness, not the place where you trust and have blind faith. So how many of you have tried to create blind faith in men or women, and everything that is times a godzillion? Will you please destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, pop, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
And what is blind faith? Where you feel that, oh, now I'm married to this man, or now I'm in love with this man, he will never cheat me. He will never go and have sex with somebody else. He will never talk to anybody else. Rather than having an
Lock them in.
awareness, lock them. And that's the control you start putting it on them. That you have, where are you? Every half an hour calling. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? For you to always have that check phone.
I don't know how people do that. I'm sorry. I think I have a point of view around this.
So everywhere you try to control them, because rather than trusting your awareness, and that's where having the trust on you and not having blind faith. Now I'm married, my husband will never cheat me. And then we get a call, oh, my husband cheated. Well, you knew always that he can cheat. Yeah, he can. So what is the lie here? Okay, I thought he won't. And then you had a conclusion, and that conclusion messes up everything in your universe. So everywhere you have conclusions with men, with regards to men, with regards to women, with regards to your knowing, can you all please destroy and uncreate it all?
Yeah.
Strong, good, bad, pot, pop, all nine shots, poison, neons.
The reason we are actually talking about this based on this whole topic of manipulation and knowing is because you have an awareness of things that men don't have, but that is not encouraged in this reality. Your innate ability to know is not encouraged as a woman. So you are supposed to give up your knowing. Oh,
it's okay now. It's fine.
Step away. Page 22. Is it better now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So you are supposed to give up your knowing in favor of manipulation as a woman. As though manipulation is going to be the ultimate source of control instead of awareness. Now, control is not wrong or bad. You want to be able to use control to create greater. But in this reality, the thing that you use for control is manipulation. And does that actually always create greater? So with awareness, you can have control over everything. That is true control. That's why we were talking about this whole manipulation bit.
And to add to that, how many of you, and I don't know whether you do it with your partners, whether you do it with your fathers or your brothers, how many of you have that a man's word is law? And who is a man? All gods are men. And goddess to fir side mein chalti hai. So that allows you to always, whatever men are saying, that becomes the law. And how much of that is going on in your families? And everything that is, can you please destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, all nine shorts, boys and girls. That does not mean that you bring up a new fight today that, okay, now man will not speak. They are not the lawmakers in my life, in my family. But everywhere you are doing that, being that in an operational state, rather than having more awareness with that, can you please destroy and uncreate it all?
Either in alignment with it or either in resistance and reaction to it, that, oh, I'll be the man of the family and prove how superior I am, rather than to just receive. What if you didn't have to prove anything?
Yeah, so how much do you end up being in a, that's something which I like, how much do you end up succumbing to the men in your reality? And when we say men, then sometimes a lot of men would succumb to women where they are being a man in a woman's body or a woman in a man's body. How many of you succumb to the reality because that's how it is the law?
Yeah.
Or how many of you resist or revolt and reject?
Did you guys watch the new Love Aajkal? It's a terrible movie. If you haven't watched it, please don't go watch it.
Oh my God.
But we want to give you the basic of what was really addressed.
Which movie?
Love Aajkal, the new one. The new Love Aajkal.
Sara Ali Khan and the other guy.
So the roles in that movie are basically about how the guy is actually this more loving, caring, nurturing being, and how she's been raised, and that's not her true nature. She's been raised to believe that what she wants to do is to conquer the world, because her mom has constantly conditioned her with this point of view that you don't want to cook chapatis and take care of your man all day. So it's like she's grown into being this woman who feels like she needs to conquer the world, rather than acknowledging that what she really wanted was to have like this really nice loving relationship. And I'm not saying that those are exclusive of each other, but the thing is, how much are we raised in a society now where women need to be something based on the points of views that their parents had about what they could or could not do. So if you didn't create your reality based on their projections and expectations, what would you really create yourself as? Like, how much would you have to get present with what is true for you? Maybe you do want to be married and have a family and not have to work a day in your life, but from a place of choice, not from this place of I have to be something to prove that I am something in this reality.
And this is the current conversation I had with a lot of people, a lot of women, where they said, I don't want to have kids. It's so much pain in the ass. Because that's the new fad which we also have. But then deep down, there is a desire to have that. But we will constantly fight with that rather than actually receiving it. So, and I'm talking about the kid, but what if it was about getting married or not getting married, letting your marriage work or not letting your marriage work? And it is by and large everywhere, like your relationship, your business, your money situations, where you will let it work or you will not let it work based on the points of views given to you in this reality.
Yeah.
I think that changed because of the woman lib
The
movement,
women liberation
Yeah.
movement. Yeah.
Yeah.
where they said that women should take charge and they'd be better than men and all. And Gary shares one incident where he was going in and there was a door and he pulled the door open for a lady and she looked at him and said, "I don't need you to do that for me. I can take care of myself." That sort of an attitude.
And
But,
where is the receiving in that?
yeah, whereas if you're a lady, and you'd love to have someone do that for you.
Yeah.
Totally.
So as a pragmatist of femininity, you will be willing to look at how you can use your feminine wiles and feminine charms to get what you want without taking away anything from someone else in order to make that so. It became obvious to me a few years ago that when women become a source of power in any position in business, they tend to work harder and more diligently and become meaner to prove that they are better than men. They are always trying to prove that they are better than men. They're not using what they have available to get beyond them. So it's like you're always trying to prove you are better than a man by never being greater than the man that you have chosen to be better than. Does that make sense? It's like you've already put man in that position of greater and more powerful while you're constantly trying to prove that that's not better or greater or more powerful.
And
Right.
And
who,
everything that brought up or let down, can we please destroy and uncreate it all?
Such a beautiful thing, because a woman wants to catch up with the man.
Yeah.
But if she's not looking at that, and if she can actually outcreate the man by a million times.
Yeah.
But we
so,
don't.
yeah, go ahead.
Anyway.
So, would you be willing to look at in your universe where have you put people on a pedestal that never allows you to receive you in totality, that has always got you creating a competition comparison, that never allows you to receive the greatness in you, that always creates the fight between who is good and who is bad and who is better and who is lesser,
Yeah.
rather than creating a universe where everyone coexists
And has communion.
and has communion, and everything that does not allow that, can we destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, online, shorts, boys and girls, everywhere we have been entrained and instilled by points of views that somebody is better than you,
And then you need to prove the opposite.
and everything that is, can we destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, online, shorts, boys and girls. I so like this. like Sonal saying something and me adding to it, and me saying something and Sonal adding to it. I find it total communion of, like, you know, the energies, like you just tap into it and then it contributes to
That's why I love you both facilitating together. You're such a contribution to each other. Really, it's amazing. You don't find so many, being so in tune with each other and doing wonderful. I really love it, yeah, the way you do it, both of you.
Thank you so much. So everywhere you're trying to prove something rather than being something.
Yeah.
Can we please destroy and uncreate it all? What are you trying to prove, and who are you trying to prove that you aren't actually?
For a few months, I don't know when this whole proving conversation had come out in Access. I think it was sometime last year. But I basically stopped and looked at every single place in my life and started to ask, am I proving here or am I choosing and creating? And it was shocking to me the amount I was proving. And I realized, wow, my entire life is based on this rather than what I could be creating based on the true joy. And how much and where all in your lives have you not acknowledged where you're doing things from a place of proving? And what access to joy would you have if you were willing to do it from a place of, oh, is this just fun for me or is this not? Would you be willing to give yourself that freedom?
Yes, please.
And that's where like this whole rat race starts to go away. It's like we've been entrained to be part of this rat race. Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pop, online shops, boys and beyonds.
So what stupidity are you using to create the feeling of conflict between masculine and feminine that you're choosing? Everything that is times a godzillion. Can we destroy and uncreate it all?
Yeah.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pop, online shots, boys and beyonds. What stupidities are you using to create the feeling of conflict between masculine and feminine you are choosing? Everything that is times a godzillion. Can we destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, online shots, boys and beyonds. And every time you catch hold of yourself going into that autopilot rut, that, oh, I'm a woman, oh, that's why this is happening with me, oh, men, everything that is, can you please destroy and uncreate it all?
Yeah.
And all the trifold sequencing systems implanted in your universe, will you please destroy and uncreate them all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pock, online shots, boys and beyonds.
And that autopilot is actually that operative state of being that we've been talking about.
So how much more present you will have to be for you to receive you and everybody in your universe? That never allows you to be from the space of operative state, that always allows you to receive, manipulate, and know. And everything that does not allow that, can we destroy and uncreate it all?
Yeah.
Right, wrong, good, bad, pot, pop, online shots, boys and beyonds.
So one of the questions that a participant asked was, what are the elements for true enjoyment of embodying being a woman? And Gary said, get rid of all the judgments about being a woman or a man, because you've been both in any lifetime. When you cut off your awareness, you make yourself stupid enough to not be aware of what people are projecting at your body, and those things lock into your body and hurt it. You have to be willing to be aware of what's going on. You have to have the awareness. This guy is looking at me with lust. Does my body like that? Oh, my body likes being lusted after. Interesting. Rather than going into this complete rejection of, oh, that's wrong somehow. At least your body can enjoy the lust. That's being pragmatic about being a woman. You recognize the difference between when someone looks at you with lust and when your body enjoys it, and when you think you have to do something about it. Most people look at someone and look away because they think if they look at someone for too long, it means they have to do something. No, it just means that you are looking. I found a way around that. When I look at women for too long and she gets comfortable, I say, wow, great shoes, great purse, where did you get them? And if you do that with guys, you can say, do you work out a lot? You're doing a good job. This is actually something I want to point out. One of the participants also asked, what's going on when men and women who don't know each other walk by each other and look away? Are they trying to avoid discomfort? And Gary says, this is what is conflict. Like, do you realize, like, we walk past people and we don't even look at them? How much conflict must exist for us to be able to do that? And everything that is, can we please destroy and uncreate it all? Right,
Yes,
wrong, good, bad,
please.
pot, pop, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
So, does anybody has a question? No.
We basically covered chapter 1. We don't, there isn't anything else. So maybe we can stop here for today.
Yeah.
And for anybody who's joining, this call is going to be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's for 6,000 INR. And it's going to be from 7:30 to 9 p.m.
And we shall see you on Monday. If any of you would like to hop onto these call series, you can get in touch with Sonal or me. And you guys have our numbers in the groups. And just till Monday, if you would like to ponder over and do some home play, start writing your definitions of being a man or a woman and start clearing that.
Yeah.
And we'll see you sometime.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you,
you.
girls.
Thank you,
so
Jeevan.
much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you so much.
Bye, girls.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Ami.
Bye, Ami.
Thank you, Charu. Thank you, Sonal.
You're so
Welcome.
welcome. Bye, Hiral.
Bye.
Bye.